Am I the asshole for going no contact with my entire family after they let the cousin who sexually assaulted me move into our house because he had nowhere else to go? Hey, before we move on to the video, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. It will help us create more interesting videos for you. Thanks. I used to think I was lucky to come from a big family. The kind with loud holidays, packed houses, and overflowing food trays. We had traditions, nicknames, running jokes that stretched back decades. My mom always said we were tight-knit, like it was our badge of honor. No matter what happened, we stuck together. But I don't think I ever felt like I truly belonged. Not in the way that counted. Growing up, I was the quiet one. Not shy exactly, just not loud. Not like my older sister, who could charm a room with her smile and had boys falling over themselves from age 13 onward. And not like my younger brother, who played football, made honor roll, and never had to load the dishwasher in his life. I was the background child. Polite, responsible, a little too sensitive, according to my dad. I liked books, wrote stories in my journal, and preferred the company of pets over people. I wasn't rebellious. I didn't sneak out, didn't drink, didn't even get in trouble at school. But somehow, it always felt like I was walking a tightrope. Anytime I stood up for myself, I was dramatic. Anytime I got upset, I was too emotional. My parents didn't scream or hit. They didn't have to. They just froze you out, dismissed you, smiled and said, "Oh, come on, it's not that serious." It wasn't abuse, exactly. It just made you doubt your own brain. I stayed at home after high school while I went to a local college. Mostly to save money, but also because I didn't feel ready to leave. Not completely. And, if I'm honest, I felt guilty. My parents acted like I owed them for every little thing. They never said it outright, but it was always there in the way my mom sighed when I didn't help with dinner or the way my dad muttered about kids these days anytime I went out with friends. So I stayed. And I made myself small. I lived in the back bedroom, kept the house clean, cooked once a week, never brought anyone over. I paid for my own groceries and gas. I helped take care of my younger cousins when they came over, even when I had deadlines or exams. I thought that being good, being agreeable, would keep me safe. Then came that family gathering. It was a summer thing. One of those big barbecues we did every year in July. My uncle has a house with a huge backyard and a pool, so everyone showed up, over 40 people, easily. Adults drinking on the patio, kids running around screaming, grills going, music playing. I was there early helping set up the tables and prep the food with my aunt. It was hot, and I remember wishing I'd stayed home, but I didn't want to disappoint anyone. That was the day I ran into Tyler again. Tyler was my older cousin, technically my second cousin, I think. He was maybe 8 years older than me. I hadn't seen him in a couple of years. He'd moved out of state for a while, and the family didn't talk about why. Growing up, he was the kind of guy people like to warn you about with a smirk. "Watch out for Tyler," they'd say, but like it was a joke. Like his creepy jokes and boundary pushing were just boys being boys. He used to tickle me until I cried when I was a kid. Back then, people laughed. But I wasn't laughing that day. At the barbecue, he showed up late. He was already buzzed, slurring his words, loud, obnoxious. He hugged me too long when he arrived, gripped my shoulders too tight. I pulled away and tried to avoid him. Later that afternoon, I went inside to get more paper towels. It was quiet in the kitchen. Everyone else was outside. I didn't hear him come in. Suddenly, Tyler was behind me. He said something gross about how I'd grown up since he last saw me. I told him to shut up and pushed past him, but he blocked the door. He leaned in, pressed his body against mine. His hand slid along my waist. His breath was hot, and I could smell the beer. I froze. He tried to kiss me. I turned my face, shoved him, hard. He stumbled, and I bolted out of the room. Outside, everything was normal. Laughter, music, clinking glasses. I stood there in the sun, shaking, trying not to cry. Nobody noticed. Nobody ever noticed. But this time, I wasn't going to stay quiet. When we got home that night, I told my mom what happened. Her face went blank. She looked tired. Not horrified. Not shocked. Just annoyed. "You're sure he wasn't just drunk and being stupid?" I stared at her. "He tried to kiss me. He cornered me." She sighed. "I'll talk to your father." But no one ever did. No one confronted Tyler. No one told the rest of the family. The next time I saw him, he smiled like nothing happened. And everyone else followed his lead. It happened about 4 months after the barbecue. By then, I had learned to live in a state of permanent tension. I avoided family events. I kept my door closed. I barely spoke to my mom unless I had to. She never brought up what I told her. Not once. And I didn't push, because every time I thought about it, I felt sick. It wasn't just what Tyler did. It was how fast the people who were supposed to protect me had decided to pretend it didn't happen. I started thinking maybe I'd been wrong to tell them. Maybe I should have stayed quiet. Maybe I was just being dramatic. That's what gaslighting does. You start questioning whether you're really allowed to feel what you feel. Then one night, I came home from class and walked into the kitchen to find my mom and dad sitting at the table with that cautious, polite smile they always used when they were about to ruin my life. "We need to talk to you," my mom said. Immediately, I felt the bottom drop out of my stomach. My dad cleared his throat. "Tyler's going through a rough time right now. He lost his job and got evicted. He doesn't have anywhere to go." I just stared, waiting. "So my mom said he's going to be staying with us for a while, just until he gets back on his feet." Silence. I blinked. "What?" "It's only temporary," she said quickly. "We've already set up the guest room. He'll keep to himself." I felt like I'd been slapped. "You're letting Tyler live here?" I asked. "After what I told you?" My dad's face hardened. "Nothing happened. You said he made you uncomfortable." "That's not the same as he tried to kiss me," I snapped. "He cornered me in the kitchen and put his hands on me." My mom made a small noise. "That's not how he remembers it." I laughed. It came out sharp, cracked. "Oh, he doesn't remember assaulting me? Guess that settles it." "You need to calm down," my dad said. "This isn't just about you. He's family. We're not going to throw him out on the street over something that may have been a misunderstanding." That word, misunderstanding. Like I'd tripped and fallen into him. Like I'd hallucinated it. Like it didn't count because I didn't end up in a hospital. "Either he doesn't move in," I said, "or I move out." My mother's face went blank. "Then I guess you'll be moving out." I packed my bags that night, but not before he arrived. I was halfway through stuffing my clothes into a duffel when I heard the front door open. Heard my dad greet him like a returning hero. Heard Tyler's voice, casual, upbeat, like this was just some family reunion. I closed my door and locked it, but it didn't matter. Later that night, I caught him smirking at me in the hallway like he knew exactly what he'd gotten away with. Like he was daring me to say something. I barely slept. I couldn't eat. I stayed in my room, kept my headphones on, counted the days until I could get out. Within a week, I had moved into a friend's spare bedroom across town. I left without saying goodbye. When I texted my mom to say I was gone, she replied, "You're being immature. Don't punish us for trying to help someone." Help someone? I guess I wasn't someone. I didn't talk to my family for the first 2 weeks after I moved out. Not because I wanted to punish them. I just couldn't. Every time my phone buzzed, I'd feel my stomach knot up. I'd expect more guilt, more deflection, more of those eerily calm texts from my mom that felt like a performance for an imaginary audience. At first, I stayed with my friend Kate. She'd offered without hesitation when I broke down crying in her car that night. Her guest room was barely more than a futon shoved in the corner of her office, but it was mine. It had a door that locked, and that was more than I'd had before. The first few days were a blur of sleep, crying, and avoidance. I skipped classes. I didn't answer emails. I couldn't concentrate. I was scared all the time, scared they'd show up, scared I'd run into Tyler at the grocery store, scared that somehow this was all my fault. Kate kept trying to feed me, brought me tea, told me I didn't need to explain. And then one night, while she was out, I got a message from my mom that sent me into full-blown panic. "Please stop telling people lies. You're hurting the whole family." Lies. That's what she thought this was. Not an assault. Not a betrayal. Just a lie that had gone too far. I called her. I don't know why. Maybe I thought I could still fix it somehow. She answered on the first ring. "Finally," she said. "We've been so worried." "Why would you let him move in?" I said, voice shaking. "Why would you choose him over me?" "You're being hysterical," she snapped. "You need to stop exaggerating what happened." I started to cry. "He cornered me, Mom." There was a pause. Then she said, "You were wearing the tight tank top. Maybe he thought you were flirting." I felt like I was going to throw up. "You're blaming me?" "I'm just saying, you're not a little girl anymore. People misread things. You're acting like you were attacked." I said. But she had already tuned me out. "You need to come home. This has gone far enough. Tyler is uncomfortable being in a house where everyone is gossiping about him because of some misunderstanding." That word again. Misunderstanding. I hung up. And for the first time in weeks, I felt something besides despair. I felt furious. That was the moment I stopped trying to protect anyone. I dug out my journal. The one I'd written in since I was 15. I had entries from the day after the barbecue. Every detail of what Tyler did. How he looked at me. How he blocked the door. What he said. I had screenshots of old texts. One from years ago where he joked about breaking into my room at Christmas. Another where he commented on a photo I posted and said, "Damn, didn't know you were getting curvy on us." I found the audio recording too, the one from that night, just before I moved out, when Tyler tried to open my locked door. It was faint, but you could hear the doorknob rattling. Then a whisper, "Come on, don't be like that." I put it all together, and I sent it. First to my aunt, who had daughters. Then to my cousin Sarah, who had once told me Tyler gave her a weird feeling. Then to my uncle, the one who always bragged about being the moral center of the family. I didn't ask for validation. I didn't beg them to believe me. I just sent the files and said, "This is what I've been dealing with. You can decide for yourselves." Then I turned off my phone. The next morning, everything exploded. By the time I turned my phone back on the next afternoon, I had 36 missed messages and over 100 texts. The family group chat, which I had muted months earlier, was in meltdown. Half the messages were people demanding explanations, the other half arguing with each other in that fake polite, rage under the surface tone I knew all too well. My mom's texts were the first I saw. "What have you done? Why are you trying to destroy your cousin's life? This is sick. Your father is furious." Then came messages from my aunts. One said she was disappointed that I was trying to ruin a man over nothing. Another said I needed to learn to forgive. But then, there were others. One from my cousin Sarah. He did the same thing to me when I was 16. I thought I was crazy. "I'm so sorry I didn't say anything." Another from my uncle's wife. "Thank you for sending this." I always thought something was off about him. By the end of the day, 5 other women in my family had messaged me privately. Some were younger cousins. One was even in her 40s. Tyler had been doing this for years, always under the radar. Always joking, always protected. He had a pattern, and no one had wanted to see it. Until now. The next day, my mom called. I let it go to voicemail. Her voice sounded off, shaky, uncertain. "I don't know what's happening. Your cousin's family is furious. He's saying you're lying. Everyone's saying different things now, and I just want this to stop. You need to come home so we can talk this out. No apology. Not even a hint of one. Just you need to come home, like I was the problem. Like I was the one who owed them peace." I didn't answer. That weekend, I moved out of Kate's place and into a small apartment I found near campus. It wasn't much, just a studio with peeling paint and old pipes, but it was mine. The first space that ever felt like it truly belonged to me. I kept hearing through others that the family was split. Half believed me, half didn't. Tyler had gone to stay with someone else, and apparently he was devastated by this smear campaign. He could rot. I didn't care about his feelings. I didn't care what the rest of them thought either. For the first time in my life, I didn't need their permission to exist. Over the next few months, I cut them out one by one. I blocked numbers, deleted emails, removed myself from group threads. The last to go were my parents. I kept thinking maybe they would come around, that they'd wake up, admit they'd failed me, beg to start over. But that never happened. The last message I ever got from my mom said, "We're sorry if you feel hurt. We just didn't want to tear the family apart." That was the moment I finally let them go, because I realized something. They didn't care that I'd been hurt. They didn't care that Tyler was dangerous. They just didn't want the appearance of a broken family. But it had been broken for years. They just didn't want anyone to look too closely. So I made peace with it. Not with them, with myself. I kept going to therapy. I started journaling again, not because I was trying to prove anything to anyone, but because I wanted to remember, to stay grounded, to stay whole. I stopped calling what happened a misunderstanding. I stopped minimizing my pain. I stopped explaining myself. A few months ago, I wrote my story out and posted it anonymously online. I didn't name names, but I told the truth. Every detail. Thousands of strangers saw it. Dozens shared their own stories. I realized how common it was, how many people had been betrayed by their families and told to just move on. I wasn't alone anymore, and I wasn't silent. 1 year after I walked out of that house, I celebrated my birthday alone in my apartment with a cupcake and a bottle of wine. I made a toast to freedom, to truth, to never apologizing for surviving. And I didn't miss them, not even a little. Thanks for watching.